Howdy folks, and in this episode of Smoogleville I'll be showing you how to build this longer lasting mailbox post. Okay, so this is the design that we're following, okay? And so the idea is to make a very long lasting mailbox. To achieve this, I'm going to do a number of things to maximize the longevity of the post. These are: 1. Use pressure-treated lumber to help protect the post from wood-boring insects, fungus, and also to resist moisture. 2. Use joinery to create a stronger and more resilient connection between the wood parts. 3. Further treat the joins and all other areas of the post with oil-based wood preserver before final assembly. This ensures that the joinery is protected on the inside should any water seep in. Number 4. Shape the parts to discourage standing moisture on exposed areas, specifically in this case a curved post top. 5. Cover the top of the post with metal flashing to prevent moisture entering the wood at its most vulnerable point. Of course, that's the end grain. And finally, use gravel rather than concrete to set the post. This allows airflow and drainage below grade to help prevent wet rot of the base. Concrete tends to trap moisture against the wood and encourage rot. With all these considerations, I think that I've done everything I can to ensure a long-lasting mailbox post. So what I'm going to do, I've got to do two things. This, I'm going to do a very long tenon on the end of this, which I'm going to have to cut on the bandsaw, okay? And so I'm going to have to mark this out, and I'm going to have to cut it by eye. I'm going to literally have to follow a line by eye in order to cut these. So I've got to just figure out my measurements for that. This is the protuberance there, and so let's just mark a 45 angle on this. So that's just to give it a little bit of shape, and I'll probably do that on the saw there. All right, this part will go through this, and so I'm going to right here, and there's always a knot, isn't there, where you want to cut through, but I'm going to cut a big through mortise here. It's going to be about 2 inches square like this, and that'll be the phase 1. That gets us this here. So we go through the wood, we're going to stick out plenty at the back, and the idea is I'm going to make a wedge probably out of oak, and use that, and we'll actually overcut the slot slightly so that this is always pulling on this, and if it got loose you could just tap the wedge and pull it in again, because wood tends to expand and contract, so having the ability to adjust it slightly and tighten things back up again is a benefit that we can glean from doing this. So the first thing I think I'm going to do is cut the tenon on this, and then I'm going to cut the mortise on that. So I'll cut this first and then make this suit this. Right, so we're going to be cutting pressure treated, so we're masked up here because you don't want to breathe that dust in. So let's get the dust extraction on. And now we get to do some cutting. So that is our tenon, which should be about 2 inches, but who knows now. Yeah, that's not bad there in the middle. This end's going to be different. No, that's 2.
Having made the 2x2 tenon on the mailbox support, I mark out the main post, ready for cutting the 2x2 mortise. I then used a 1/2 inch auger bit and a power drill to rough out the mortise. For some reason, I really enjoy the process of cutting mortise and tenon joints these days. There was a time when I would avoid doing them in favour of faster alternatives such as pocket screws or toe nailing. But these techniques, while effective in the short term, give a less satisfying result and almost certainly will not last like a well-made mortise and tenon. If you don't believe me, go up into the roof space of any medieval cathedral and look at the joinery there. Those joints have been supporting insane amounts of weight for centuries, and as long as they stay dry, will continue to do so for centuries more.
A lot of carpenters don't have the patience for chopping mortises, but I actually find it very satisfying. It always gives you a good shaped hole, if your chisel's sharp, that is. And I guess it's real carpentry, like we used to do in the old days. When I was on a site, we didn't have any machinery to do this. I didn't even have a power drill. I used to use a swing brace and do most of the damage with that, and then follow up with a chisel after. That we're going through. We're breaking through, people. Let's just get that cleared away, and there it is. I think we're doing it. Right, I'm just going to break the corners like that. See that? That's how you know the chisel's sharp too. I'm just doing it up to the shoulder there. See that? Okay, like that. Take the corner off, because that bites into the... If you round that off a bit, that'll go in a bit smoother. And I do the bit I can't get to with a plane, and then we get ourselves... Is this thing set up? No, it's not. Use the next ones. And this will probably all get cut off anyway. Let's see how we're doing. Oh yeah, look at that. Now I've got to be careful because I don't want to get it stuck. Well, I think that's going to go through. Yeah, it is. All right. So one more thing. We've got to cut another slot in this to put the peg through, the wedge. So let's pull that out. Right, so this bit will be inside the mailbox, inside the post, and this bit will be protruding, and what I'm going to have a wedge in here. 3/4 wedge, like that, and I do want it to come slightly in. Not too much, probably not that much, but a little bit. And I'll make this out of oak or something, but the reason I want to do that is so as I bash the wedge in, it doesn't bottom out in my slot. There's a little air gap here so that it will pull this toward the back, and that should keep that really, really strong and solid. So let's mark that properly and get that done.
Next, I chopped another mortise to house the wooden wedge that will hold the two main sections of the post together. I put a slight angle in the back of the mortise to create a more snug-fitting wedge. And finally, I dry-fitted the cross-piece tenon into the mortise to make sure the two parts had a good fit. Now it was time to make the wedge that will pull all of this together.
See that there? Look. That's my angle. And that is 9 degrees. Okay. All right, 9 degrees it is. Take my peg, now then. So this is going to go in like that, and I want it to go, it's a bit of a judgment call here, but it needs to be about that wide, and then I put this puppy on there like that, and let's cut that wedge. Looks like I might need to go in a bit further, give myself a bit more. Right, so there's a 9 degree. Let's jump on the bandy.
I find the sander is a good way to smooth out the rough edges left by the bandsaw, and it's also an excellent tool for adding gentle curves to the ends of a workpiece.
And this last step is just a little decorative, but I'm going to actually put a little chamfer on there using I've got a 45 degree chamfer bit there. Yeah, I was going to nix that, but I think I'll let that go, that's alright. Curly bit. Originally I was going to have mortise and tenons and all that. It's just, that's going to be the only thing I screw and glue on here. And I'm going to do it once I've got that peg in there. Now the last thing we're going to do here today is put a little lead on the top of that post. And so I've got some lead flashing right here. Okay, and it's real lead, which is why I'm wearing gloves, because we don't want to get lead poisoning doing this. Okay, so now what it'd be nice to do is get a little scrap of a little offcut of 4x4. Here we are, and we're going to make a little lip like that. And we're going to work that onto that top piece there. So we need about there. I'm going to allow about an inch of overlap, so alright folks, I've just given it a coat of clear Thompson's water seal, especially in the area, well, all over, but I'm wanting to concentrate and make sure I got some on the part that's going to go in the ground. We're going to gravel this in. We'll probably do that tomorrow. I've Thompsoned all the parts. I'll screw that on tomorrow. That'll be the only part that's screwed, and I'll screw and glue that. It's just decorative. It's not doing anything structural, so it doesn't matter.
The next day, it was simply a case of removing the old post and digging out the hole with a post digger. Next, I put some gravel down the hole before the post went in. This ensures the bottom of the post is sitting on drainage stones, not on damp soil. With the post in, I poured the gravel around it, levelled and tamped it, and finally I screwed the original mailbox on, and it was job done. It'll be interesting to see how well my attempts at making a longer lasting mailbox post turn out. Please click the like button if you found this video helpful, and we'd love to have you as a subscriber, as there's always something interesting going on in Smoogleville.